feel about Boss giving you the name Officer Ricky? I just want to hear from you.
Baby, I'm worth too much money to even be, sidetracked on this carpet. No, this is not the G-Unit sneaker. Sorry. Listen, everybody over there at G-Unit, when y'all was out of business.
Oh my gosh, can you believe what happened? Rick Ross took something that was barely even an insult and turned it into this massive drama. I mean, seriously, this led to the most explosive back and forth you've ever seen, full of nasty insults, brutal diss tracks, and non-stop provocations that had everyone talking. 50 Cent, who's basically the master of rap feuds, immediately went into full attack mode to destroy Ross's reputation. His first move, dropping this absolutely savage diss track called Officer Ricky that completely exposed Ross's past as a correctional officer. Can you imagine? The track totally questioned everything about Ross's street cred that he'd spent years building up.
My whole name, and he probably gained the most stardom out of everybody. But, he raps about selling drugs,
Right.
and he never sold drugs. He was a correctional.
The song blew up everywhere, and 50 was just getting started. He took things to a whole new level by creating these hilarious skits and cartoons that Ross described as absolutely deceptive. Everyone online was eating it up, and poor Ross was totally on the defensive. Instead of just giving up, Ross fired back with his own diss tracks, desperately trying to act like 50's brutal attacks weren't getting to him. But honey, the damage was already done. 50 had successfully planted serious doubts about Ross's authenticity in the minds of so many fans. What started as just another rap beef quickly spiraled into something much more personal and devastating. This feud went way beyond music and started affecting their actual lives. 50 kept piling on the pressure, and Ross suddenly found himself dealing with much more than just some rap rivalry.
But see, if you did 20, because you did something you weren't supposed to do by street code, which said you was probably supposed to do 40. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna look at it like that. Now, his early release now is based on he got a time cut based upon the new law.
Right.
I got that paperwork. And what they say happened, right? With the third-party cooperation for him. They got the document in the paperwork with the Tammy chick where she's saying that she was third-party cooperating to get him a time cut, but she ended up having sex with the F-Fed dude.
So that's
which got Puffy convicted, but then they took the time cut off your table.
You won't believe how far 50 took this feud with Rick Ross. He went way beyond just making diss tracks and jokes. He dug deep into Ross's private life. One of his most shocking moves, exposing Ross's history as a correctional officer, which completely undermined the hardcore street image Ross had spent years creating. But wait, it gets worse. 50 somehow tracked down Ross's baby mama, Tia Kemp, and did a whole interview with her. And he didn't just ask a few questions. He took her on this extravagant shopping spree while she spilled all of Ross's personal tea about his money problems and other embarrassing details. They were laughing together the entire time while Ross was being humiliated. The footage went absolutely viral and made headlines everywhere, taking this beef to a whole new level of nasty. As if that wasn't enough drama, 50 then released a tape featuring another one of Ross's ex-partners. Can you even? The humiliation was just too much. Ross's lawyers tried to fight back against 50's personal attacks, but even though 50 claimed he wasn't involved, everyone knew the truth. The damage was already done. This shocking scandal added a whole new dimension to their already heated feud. When Ross referenced these incidents in his Mafia music, he wasn't just performing, he was challenging 50 on the most personal level possible.
How do you feel about Boss giving you the name Officer Ricky? I just want to hear from you.
Baby, I'm worth too much money to even be, sidetracked on this carpet. No, this is not the G-Unit sneaker. Sorry. Listen, everybody over there at G-Unit, when y'all was out of business.
50 is not the type to let things slide. Instead of just dropping another diss track, he launched this entire campaign against Ross. First, he released Officer Ricky, Go Ahead Try Me, specifically targeting Ross's past as a correctional officer. But that was just the beginning. 50 went straight for Ross's personal life by bringing in his baby mama Tia Kemp. He interviewed her, took her on these incredible shopping sprees, and let her air all of Ross's supposed financial dirty laundry. The whole drama played out online for everyone to see, making Ross look totally vulnerable and turning this feud into this massive spectacle that everyone was talking about. Meanwhile, Ross tried to stand his ground and refused to back down against 50's relentless attacks.
window and the house was ignited. Couldn't even make it downstairs. We had to jump out the window.
You think he hired someone to do it?
Yes, of course. I know he's too much of a coward to do anything.
Ross fired back with a barrage of diss tracks and kept trying to control his narrative, but 50 was nowhere near finished. He kept finding new ways to undermine Ross, releasing these animated skits mocking him and exposing more secrets from his past. What started as a simple rap beef had evolved into this all-out war over their reputations. 50 was absolutely determined to prove that Ross was a fraud, while Ross was desperate to show he could stand up to one of hip-hop's most feared personalities. As the conflict intensified, it became crystal clear that this wasn't just about music anymore. It was a battle for power, legacy, and survival in the cutthroat music industry. 50 immediately hit back with a full-scale on Ross's reputation, finances, and personal life. He didn't just drop one diss track, he turned it into an entire campaign. First came Officer Ricky, Go Ahead Try Me, which completely mocked Ross's history as a correctional officer. But for 50, one diss track was never going to be enough. He followed up with a series of animated parodies showing Ross as Officer Ricky, this bumbling prison guard with zero street cred. The video went totally viral, and fans couldn't ignore the irony of Ross claiming to be this big-time drug lord while having worked in law enforcement.
Charlemagne, he would know better than that. A diabolical genius doesn't file foreclosure, doesn't file bankruptcy, it's not a diabolical.
Then 50 took things to a whole new level of petty. He targeted Ross's personal life by tracking down his baby mama Tia Kemp and flew her out for an exclusive interview. But he didn't stop there. He took her on this extravagant shopping spree, buying her designer bags and high-end clothes, all while filming everything for the world to see. Tia held nothing back. She revealed all of Ross's supposed money problems and claimed he wasn't nearly as rich as he pretended to be. The entire scenario played out online, completely embarrassing Ross and giving 50 even more ammunition for his attacks. By this point, the conflict had moved far beyond music. It was all about power, control, and public image. 50 had a very clear goal: to prove Rick Ross was a complete fake and slowly dismantle his career, just like he'd done to others before.
Did you know Rick while he was working in law enforcement?
He was a correction officer.
So where could if he was a correctional officer? I'm deciding your life up. Rick, bro, I'm gonna your life up. For fun. This a few times. It's not new. I do this all the time.
Ricky's crook. He said he got $2 million.
Ross was absolutely determined not to give in. He fired back with Valley of Death, acknowledging his past as a correctional officer but insisting it wouldn't define him. He doubled down on his boss persona, kept making music, and pushed forward with his brand. But this feud was far from over. 50 wasn't done yet, and Ross was about to find out just how far 50 was willing to go. The real Freeway Rick Ross, the actual former drug dealer, wasn't going to let this slide either. Unlike other rappers who just borrowed names from notorious criminals, Rick Ross didn't just take the name, he created an entire identity around it. He rapped about moving massive amounts of drugs, making millions, and climbing the criminal hierarchy. But there was one huge problem. He never actually lived that life. The real Freeway Rick Ross, who had served serious prison time for running one of the biggest drug operations in U.S. history, felt completely disrespected. He accused the rapper of stealing his identity and profiting from a lifestyle he never actually lived. Freeway Rick filed a lawsuit to reclaim his name and force Ross to stop using it. The legal battle dragged on for years but ultimately ended in the rapper's favor due to legal technicalities. But the damage to Ross's image was already done.
Ross and Big Meech do an Instagram video together because Big Meech was doing this big concert. And so then 50 gets upset about that. Did 50 post anything, or did he just kind of, unfollow Lil Meech?
Well, he posted.
The combination of the correctional officer revelations and the name theft controversy gave 50 Cent all the ammunition he needed to completely destroy Ross's credibility. He seized the opportunity and doubled down on the Officer Ricky persona. 50 created skits, shared memes, and even staged a fake press conference mocking Ross's law enforcement background. But Ross didn't crumble. Instead of getting caught up in a bitter war of words, he chose a different approach. He focused on his music, which turned out to be a brilliant move. Rather than letting 50 control the narrative, Ross released Deeper Than Rap, an album widely considered one of his best. Despite 50's constant mockery, Ross's music began to resonate more than all the drama surrounding him. Tracks like Mafia Music, Magnificent, and Maybach Music 2 were undeniable hits, proving that no matter what 50 threw at him, Ross still had a loyal fan base. The Officer Ricky jokes failed to slow his momentum. Just when it seemed Ross might weather the storm, 50 escalated the conflict, taking it from rap beef to personal humiliation. He announced a book supposedly revealing all of Ross's secrets, meant to be the ultimate embarrassment. But 50 didn't stop there. He took Tia Kemp on an extravagant shopping spree and filmed the whole thing for everyone to see. He bought designer clothes, luxury bags, and took her to fancy dinners, making sure to mention Rick Ross's name throughout the entire process. The intention was crystal clear. 50 Cent was determined to tear down Ross's public image piece by piece. If using Ross's baby mama against him wasn't cruel enough, 50 had another shocking move planned. In what might be one of the most ruthless acts in hip-hop history, he leaked an explicit video allegedly featuring Lastonia Leviston, another woman with whom Rick Ross shares a child. The video was reportedly sent to him by Leviston's ex-boyfriend, and 50 wasted no time using it as a weapon against Ross. He even added his own commentary and mocked Ross while narrating the footage under the alias Pimpin' Curly. This strategy backfired spectacularly. Leviston sued 50 Cent for revenge porn, and in 2015, a jury awarded her a staggering $7 million in damages. This case severely impacted 50's finances, proving that even a master of trolling can go too far. Yet even after this legal disaster, 50 continued to mock Ross whenever possible, in interviews, on social media, and in his music. But something unexpected happened. Ross didn't disappear. Instead of breaking under the pressure, Rick Ross kept releasing music. He doubled down on his brand, aligned himself with powerful figures, and most importantly, kept delivering hit songs. His album, Teflon Don, cemented his place in the industry with timeless tracks like Aston Martin Music and BMF, Blowin' Money Fast. Though the Officer Ricky jokes persisted, Ross skillfully navigated one of the most relentless feuds in hip-hop without letting it destroy his career. While their beef simmered over the years, the animosity never fully disappeared. 50 still throws occasional jabs at Ross, and Ross responds when he feels like it. In the aftermath, one thing became evident. Though Rick Ross may not have definitively triumphed over 50 Cent, he didn't let 50 destroy his career as many had predicted. In the ever-changing world of hip-hop, sometimes just surviving the storm is the greatest victory of all. That one line from Ross was the closest he'd come to admitting the truth, and despite its subtlety, the damage was already done. Years of denying what was well documented only made the situation worse. By the time he finally addressed his past, the Officer Ricky jokes were permanently embedded in hip-hop culture, irreversibly harming his image. Yet even with those revelations hanging over him, Ross thrived. If anything, he found a way to reshape the narrative and rebrand himself as an even more powerful force in the industry. While 50 was busy making jokes and flooding the internet with memes, Ross was achieving major musical milestones. Albums like Teflon Don, God Forgives I Don't, and Mastermind became both critical and commercial successes. Songs like BMF, Stay Schemin', and Aston Martin Music kept him in the spotlight and maintained his status as one of hip-hop's giants. Additionally, while 50 was known for his feuds, Ross was securing lucrative business ventures with Wingstop, Bel Air, and other investments that ensured his financial stability beyond music. This rivalry shows how two different approaches to a rap beef can yield completely different results. 50 Cent had already established legendary status with Get Rich or Die Trying, but after his conflicts with Ross and others, his music career began to decline. His focus shifted toward television, where he found enormous success with Power and other projects. Meanwhile, Ross remained dedicated to his musical pursuits, expanding his brand and empire beyond rap. In some ways, both emerged as winners in their own right. 50 controlled the narrative and exposed Ross's past, but Ross proved that public perception was evolving. Fans cared more about music quality and business acumen than outdated street cred. Although Ross's reputation took a hit, he never completely collapsed, and while 50 Cent might have won certain battles, it doesn't mean Ross lost the war. are, this dispute will undoubtedly go down as one of hip-hop's most merciless conflicts, showing that in this industry, survival is about adapting and persevering. Both Ross and 50 accomplished that successfully. Ultimately, the feud between 50 Cent and Rick Ross has shown that rivalries in hip-hop can last a lifetime. Their continued exchanges over a decade later prove that some beefs never truly die. What's fascinating is how this conflict has transformed over time. What began as a simple misunderstanding escalated into one of the most brutal and publicized rap battles ever. Careers were tested, reputations challenged, and the shots haven't stopped coming. With Big Meech now involved in the drama, the situation is becoming even more complicated, and it's obvious that 50 Cent isn't letting this go anytime soon. Ross, for his part, continues to move forward, building business deals and expanding his empire. Nevertheless, no matter how hard he tries to downplay his history, 50 Cent has made sure it follows him everywhere. Whether it's the Officer Ricky jokes or the ongoing battle over control of the BMF narrative, these two will likely remain enemies for years to come. Do you think 50 Cent and Rick Ross will ever make peace, or is their feud destined to continue forever? And was Ross wrong for associating with Big Meech despite 50's connection to the BMF series? Let's discuss it in the comments below. In the comments below.